Lance Hall here for Let's Discuss with Lance Hall. Happy to welcome Alex Staropoli of Rhapsody of Fire to the program today. How are you doing, Alex?
I'm doing great, thank you.
Fantastic album set to come out here end of the week, I believe. Yes. Uh,
Yes,
Glory for Salvation on AFM Records. Your 13th studio album, second album in a trilogy. Fantastic stuff, Alex.
thank you. We are very proud. We worked for the last 2 years on this record. Finally, on Friday is the release date, and I can't wait for our fans to have it.
As I mentioned at the top, this was sort of the second album in a trilogy. How did the concept for this trilogy come about?
Well, it's in a very simplistic way. If you allow me to put it that way, Glory for Salvation is the second chapter of this new Rhapsody of Fire saga. At
Mhm.
this time of the story, the hero opens his eyes, realizes the reality around him, understand that he will have to fight with all his strengths to accomplish his goals. So, just to clarify, there's not a real connection with our daily life or no society, but we do like to propel a metaphor to drive people to believe in themselves, make them realize that every one of us has a second chance. But in order to do so, we have to work hard for it.
Mm.
So I think that in starting from the Eighth Mountain and also for Glory for Salvation, the the idea behind the music, the mix, the graphic, the visuals, the video clips, everything is to really to combine and to make everything as a whole, So we are very, very happy about the result of everything. So visuals and music, everything together, brings to the listener the message that we want to portray.
Yeah, great stuff. I had lyrics to a few of the songs. I wish I had had lyrics to all of them, but really, really great subject matter and of course composition and stuff. And the mixing and mastering, you worked with Sieb again from Orden Ogan, and
Yes.
you enjoy working with him very much.
Yes, well, it outdid himself with this new record because the Eight Mountain he did a fantastic mix, but the first time he sent me the very first version of the first song of the album, he was the first to be surprised about the sound, about the quality, and I must say to have a mix like that for a musician, arranger, and a composer like me, it's a blessing because it gives you so much confidence and relaxation about composing music because you know that it's going to sound like that.
Hmm.
So what Seb did is like a mix full of energy, power, clarity, and definition. It's like a dream come true. He really raised the bar of the sound, and we also sound more modern in a way, which is great.
Definitely. So he is an expert then at capturing the sound that you're hearing in your head, which is sometimes tough to do.
Well, yes, well, in music, there's nothing easy to do, but if you have a vision, if you have an idea, that's the best.
Yeah. The other thing I found interesting is you do music first, then lyrics.
Yes, yes, always. We always. This has been a constant in this for this band, and of course I write music by myself, but also with Robbie De Michele, the guitar player.
Hmm.
And when we write music, we already know the story, but it is not that relevant. And when the music is written, the songs are written, when all the melody, the vocal melodies, these are written, the material goes to Giacomo, and he can start working on the lyrics. Then it's
Yeah.
for me, it makes sense. It makes sense for me.
I was reading Robbie came up with a lot of the riffs and stuff that became a lot of the creations of a lot of this song. Is that did I read that correctly?
Yes, this is correct. And he does a lot of riffing, and together we sit down, we select the best, and sometimes, we like different pieces. But, sometimes I hear a guitar riff and immediately imagine, the style of a song we could do. Then, it's exciting for me to have a different point of view and to have, an input from a guitar player, which is in this genre, it's relevant, really very important.
Yeah, definitely. I of course have heard an advanced copy of it. I got it from Dustin and played it, and wanted to pick your brain on a few of the songs, if I could.
Yeah, sure.
Um, Track one, Sons of Vengeance. What a theatrical opening! A lot of stuff that I read about you guys, that it was called like film score rock or something like that. I
Yeah.
definitely can see it in that song, particularly with that opening. It was just grandiose would be a word that would spring to mind immediately.
Yes, actually, this is the very first song I wrote for the album. The very first song that Seb mixed, and it's not a typical first song of the album of Rhapsody of Fire because it's not a super fast one, but it sets the tone
Mhm.
and prepare the atmosphere for what comes next. And I really like. I think it's important to not write just fast song because we were known to writing fast songs. I like to explore different tempos and to have the you know the to create the right tempo for a song in order that also when you play it live, there is more clarity and there is more physical time to the sound waves to reach the people.
Sure.
I've noticed that to play fast song is great and the people is excited and the band is well prepared. The playing is great, but when the tempo is a bit slower, it's a different story. It's really something equally rich and valid in there.
Mm. All right, I got a question for you then. I'm going to break away from asking about the album for just a second to ask you this. Obviously, you put a lot of time into sequencing an album, and the way you're talking about songs and how fast and how slow they are in different tempos. How much time do you put into sequencing your live set?
Oh, it depends. Actually, I also invest a lot of time into sequencing the songs on the album.
Mm,
I thought you were going to ask this question, but because it's an important question that nobody usually asks.
yeah.
So also the sequence on the album is very important,
Mm,
and you have to connect the dots and
right.
but live as well. And we have so many songs that we would like to play, but it depends on the tour. The last tour we did, we played the Eight Mountain entirely.
Mm,
So this was like a risky move, but it paid off because the fans loved it.
sure.
And it always depends, for the next tour we are scheduling to play more organically the songs, both
Mm,
from the End Mountain and Glory for Salvation, but also some old tracks. So it
mm,
always depends of what we want to offer.
sure. I mean, because at times, you've got to give the audience, a bit of a breather at times, but also the players as well. Your singer, your drummer, stuff like that. Um,
Yes,
and
yes.
there's got to be a bit of a flow. Do you usually have like a set list, or do you sometimes sort of start out with a set list and then deviate when you're playing live?
No, we have a fixed set list,
Okay.
and normally we do a set list of 2 hours, and then based on the tour, we decide if to do it 90 minutes, 100 minutes. It depends, but normally we like to rehearse the songs we are going to play. We never improvise, if this is what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. um Track three, title track, Glory for Salvation. You got to put the lyric video out, so I could see the lyrics on that. But I've got to tell you, between the lyrics and mostly the song, that song took me places, in my mind. Fabulous track. Can you tell us a little bit about that one?
Well, it's very hard for me to describe the songs that we do and the songwriting because after months it becomes part of the past in a way,
Yeah. Yeah.
and every song it becomes part of the album, which I consider the song.
Yeah.
So it's like, for example, just to make an example, the Terrier the Hawk. It's a
Yeah.
song that I wrote just based on the desire to write a line for William Pipes and Celtic Harp. So
Hmm.
before the song was written, I wrote down the desire to use those instruments. So sometimes stuff like this happens, you know. And sometimes, you know, starting from Robbie's guitar riff, I just put down my head and, you know, work and compose and do this and that, and then a song like "Glory for Salvation" comes out, or like "I'll Be Your Hero." You know,
Yeah.
I don't have secrets really to reveal. It's just
Okay.
about to, you know, to go with the flow, and suddenly the song is there.
Hmm.
Maybe in one day, maybe in 2 weeks. You know, it's always. Actually, some people say that the "Glory for Salvation" it's not the best song on the album. Why they gave this the title of the album? They could have used another song. So it's again there is a lot of differences in how the listener perceives the songs.
Hmm.
So this is something I love, because some people say, "Oh, this is not the best song," but another guy would say, "This is the best song of the album." So it's funny.
Well, I can tell you my favorite track as I listened through, and it was hard to pick them, but the track that really jumped out to me was Magic Signs. That was my favorite track.
Ah, really?
Really
Okay.
liked that one. Yeah.
Yeah.
A little bit, like you say, a little bit of a different tempo and stuff. And that one I enjoyed immensely. Um,
Yeah. Well, yeah. That's the ballad of the album. Yeah.
yes, yes. Um, the other stuff that I noticed, like on Made of the Secret Sand, I'm sort of a guitar solo guy, so I'm always listening to the solos. But the instrumentation that was going on behind that solo, I thought was just phenomenal. The way, normally a band just sort of takes off the guitarist, does a solo, and everybody else just sort of sits there. Not in that case. That was an amazing piece of music.
Yes, I like to enrich the guitar solo. Actually, I overdo it, and then I leave it to Seb to to decide if it's too much or not. So I like on this album because I really keep some harmonies, actually vocal harmonies, under a guitar solo, instead of using just keyboards and put them just in the background.
Hmm.
So it's yeah, in a way, it's like what Queen were doing, with the solos, with the
Hmm.
guitar solos.
Hmm.
The parts are kind of simple in a way, but still there is some rich background going on, some different harmonies and melodies going. So I always like this multiple layers of melodies anyway, because one time you listen the guitar, the next time you listen, you hear another melody going on.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's all about making. I want to dream. I want to be carried away when I listen to it, and I love when listeners and fans appreciate that.
Oh, absolutely. Like I said, that's what happened to me with Glory for Salvation. It just took me places. Fantastic track. And the other thing I'll give you kudos for your keyboards is on Infinite Glory. I thought that your keyboards were just absolutely spectacular in that track. I love that one. So good stuff.
Yeah.
Um, how did I was also love the cover art on this album. How did that concept come about?
Oh, well, I discussed this with Robbie because he's the guy that proposed and wrote this story, and basically I follow his instruction, his ideas, and of course put in also my own ideas. We wanted to keep the graphic, to look cold and and proper to the connected to the story.
Hmm.
And I'm working with this amazing guy called Alex Charlot, and since legendary years, since this cover artwork, I'm working with him, and he really did. I think this is the best cover he did.
Yeah.
Very detailed, and the fact that we started working on it many months before, we gave this gave us the time to develop it, carefully, and
Hmm.
I think it's great when music, graphics, visuals everything goes well along and makes it a whole. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Speaking of cold, let's talk about that video for Chains of Destiny. You guys shot that up in the Alps, which was a dream of yours. You had never shot before in the Alps?
No, not really. It
Yeah.
was really prohibitive to carry equipment, to ask for permissions, and it was always, really, really not easy to do. But this time we met a guy that lives in the area and he has good connections, and we just drove there from our hometown, which is not even 2 hours driving.
Mm,
We had the ski lift. Normally, it is what we call the ski lift, so we could put the equipment there and go up almost to 2,000 meters. And it was, believe me, it was so cold and windy, but it was really worth it.
yeah, that's cool. How was the footage is spectacular. How was that shot? Were they like in a helicopter? Did they use a drone?
Yes,
How,
we had two kind of drones, the regular one, and then there was a new drone called FTP or something, which
mm,
is a drone that can do maneuvers like a plane. So you
mm,
can simulate the flights. It's not like just up, down, left or right. It's really you can do smooth movements.
yeah,
And unfortunately, it was raining, so the it was we could not use so many of those images because the camera was wet.
sure.
So, but yes, and then some usual normal Steadicams. It
Yeah.
was incredible. It was like being in a movie because we were standing there and there were some low clouds coming up and the wind and a light rain. It was, we were supposed to shoot this in the summer, but due to some restriction, COVID restriction, we had to postpone it.
Yeah.
And imagine the day before we shoot, it is snowed, and
Mm.
so it was a bit risky to do that, but it finally paid off.
Yeah. Hey, you brought up an interesting point. Everybody thinks, that being in a rock band is so much fun and you go out on tour and you're up on stage and you're playing in front of audiences. You talked about, trying to get permission to go up there and shoot this video and everything. How did that all entail? That must have been a lot of work.
Well, yeah, the director did that, and we were very lucky because the local community and the people that is in charge of releasing permission for shooting and this and that were very generous. We got the ski lift for free. Is this
Mm.
cabin going up? We got this for free, and we got assistance. And basically, on that day, the cabin was closed, but they opened it for us with equipment and with the crew and everything, and they helped us in every way possible, carrying equipment. So it was really, really incredible, really incredible.
Mm.
And normally it's more difficult, but it's because we were more in this area that it was easier. If you go in a different part of the Alps, it may be even more difficult to go up there because it's
Sure.
more touristic. This is still touristic, but not in this period. So there was nobody there. There was nobody around.
Yeah. That's cool. That sounds like it was a life once in a lifetime experience, maybe.
Yes,
Um,
yes, yes. It was very, very magical.
Cool. Do we have any other videos coming out for any other songs that you have been able to shoot, or is this going to be the only one?
Yes, I just came back from Italy, where this Saturday, like a few days ago, we recorded a second video clip.
Okay.
But yeah, I cannot mention now the release date of the song, but it will be very, very good. I'm
Cool.
already seeing some example and it's some samples of it, and it's really great.
Nice.
It will be released in December anyway, first two
Excellent.
weeks of December. Yeah, 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 very
Look,
soon.
look forward to it. You have some tour dates coming up in January of next year, which really, if you stop and think about it, isn't all that far off right now. Are they still holding firm, or are you guys sort of waiting to see what's going to happen?
We are holding firm. We are, I'm not saying we are confident,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
we have these 30 shows, And I know the situation here in Europe seems to be a bit out of hand, especially in some countries.
Mm,
So we hope that this story is happening. And many other bands I saw that they are moved. Also Nightwish today I saw they just moved postponed the entire tour to November 2022 or something.
yeah,
So I don't know. We are still we are still waiting, and hopefully we can keep the dates. But
yeah,
sooner or later we are everything has to come to normal.
yeah.
So
Let's hope. Let's
yeah.
hope. Yeah, definitely. In the meantime, are you say perchance writing for the third chapter, or are you taking a little break, or
Yes, sir, I do. I'm not taking breaks because I was famous to take too many breaks and procrastinate. This is something I don't want to do. I want to force myself to work. So, yes, I start working already. And, well, if you imagine, if you want to keep the timing right.
yeah?
Next summer, I'm supposed to record vocals already with Giacomo if I want to release an album in 2 years.
Mm,
So it's really, what you want to deliver the final master to the label at least 6 to 8 months before the release, prior to the release. So at the end, there's not so much time. So
true.
that's why I started working already. So I don't want to rush and work like a crazy maniac at the very last moment. I prefer to have, my
Right.
time and, organize
Yeah.
it well.
Take you back in time a little bit, and we can tie this sort of a little into the shooting of Chains of Destiny. I understand as a child you were very interested in nature, mountains, lakes, stuff like that. So that must have did that tie into this experience up there in the Alps as well?
Oh, yes.
Mm,
Well, as a kid, I was not really a fan of walking and do too many, too much fatigues,
yeah.
but the love for the mountains was there. It was always there.
Mm,
The smell of the air, the pure air, the forest, the mountains, the views that you have, the silence,
mm,
the animals that you spot, everything. When you are in contact with nature, it's really magical. And it's, all my life, every year I have to go and do a vacation there in the mountains, or with the snow, or in the summer. I love
mm.
it.
Yeah, excellent.
So it's when I compose, it's often I think about natural landscapes or movies. So
Mm,
visuals are important, and nature is really a part of it.
yeah, excellent. You got your first piano at 9, your first guitar at 14. Where was the spark that got you started musically? Was it from a family member or a band you heard or something you saw or
Oh well, it was I had some cousins that they were playing violins, playing piano as well, and I just started playing piano, and then when I was more grown up, almost 18, I changed teachers a few times, and I started working also with studying with keyboards, and I knew I had something. I was preparing myself for something, but because I knew I had some talent, I knew I could do something, and I always loved the film music, classical music. So the idea of composing and creating arrangements was a dream of mine at some point. And this is right when I met with Luca Turilli and we started writing music. My brother was also uh, very young. When he was 8, 10 years old, he was already doing concerts with medieval and Renascimental music. So he was also a big influence for Rhapsody in the beginning.
mm.
So yeah, it was like maybe it ran in the family at the end. It really ran.
Yeah, just something you were always surrounded by. Were you able to pick up things on your own? Did you ever have to take lessons for keyboards or anything?
Yeah, well, yes. When you study piano, you are forced to follow a specific path and to buy specific books and to play specific parts, and sonatas and exercises. Yes, I always thought it was, yeah, it was kind of boring to play exercise and exercise your technique, but I knew it was important, so I always kept on studying. Then when the band recorded the first album and we started working, composing, and going back and forth to the studios, I just could not keep up with the studies. So I said, okay, that's enough for me, and I'm happy enough. And as long as I can compose and have ideas and arrange and produce, I was
Yeah.
very happy about
Excellent. The band is called Rhapsody of Fire. The album Glory for Salvation coming out November 26th on AFM Records. Excellent, excellent album. We've been talking to Alex Staropoli here for Let's Discuss with Lance Hall. Alex, I always like to end with just some fun, sort of silly questions. Would you be up for a couple of those?
it. Yeah, absolutely. Yes.
All right. If you could speak any language instantly, what language would you pick?
Spanish.
Spanish?
Yeah.
Uh, let's see. What food for you is better as a leftover than freshly cooked?
Ooh. I could say anything you cook in the oven, like lasagna or
Mhm.
ragu, everything you can keep in the fridge for a few days will taste much better afterward.
All right.
Yeah.
Um, do you have a favorite season? Are you a spring, summer, winter, fall guy?
I'm summer guy all of my
Summertime.
life. Yes.
Given your choice of household chores, would you rather do dishes or the laundry?
Oh well, it doesn't matter. I do what is needed.
Okay.
I do dishes. Yeah, I cook and I do dishes.
All right. Um, if you could pick a television show to have a Rhapsody of Fire song placed in, what show would you pick?
Oh well, I'm not so informed about. Maybe I like this guy Jimmy Fallon.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Yep. That'd be cool. Get on his. That'd be some great exposure for you.
Oh yeah, that would be incredible.
Favorite toy growing up as a child?
Cars.
Cars.
Yeah.
What is something outside of music that you're good at? We know you're a fantastic arranger, composer, player, producer. Are you like a good gardener or a good woodworker or anything like that? Is there anything outside of music that you're good at?
Yeah. Well. Yeah. Maybe. Yeah. I'm a good cook. Let's say.
Okay.
Let's say. Let's put it that way. I'm a good cook because I'm Italian and I have. My mom and my grandma, they were cooking incredible stuff. So I've learned a lot. So I can say, I can defend myself in the kitchen.
Okay. When you go out on tour, do you usually travel heavy or light?
Very heavy.
Very heavy.
Tons of stuff. Tons of stuff.
What is one essential item other than the obvious, your keyboard, your wires and stuff like that, microphones? What's one essential object that you have to have in your travel bag that most people wouldn't really think you'd have to have in there?
Mm, many because oof, well, I need to have a few books with me.
Okay. Okay. Very cool. Keep yourself busy on the road.
Yeah.
Um, last one. This is the one we have the most fun with. If they were to make a bio movie of your life, what actor would you have portray you in the movie? And it's your movie, your life. You can pick anybody.
I think I think I will pick Adrian Brody
Okay.
because I think we have some genetic similarity in the face traits. So it would, yeah, with some long hairs, he could work.
Yeah. Okay. Alex, this has been a lot of fun chatting with you today. Once again, we've been chatting with Alex Staropoli of Rhapsody of Fire, the album Glory for Salvation, coming out on AFM Records, November 26th. Best wishes, much success, safe travels. Hopefully, we get that tour going next year and you go out and get to hit the road. And we look forward to hearing the final chapter in this trilogy as well.
Thank you, Lance. Thank you for having me. Hope to to get this European show dates going, and also Canada, US, and Latin
Mm,
America and Asia. We are the
excellent.
band is ready to play, ready to go on tour. So
and the world is ready to have you go out on tour. So let's hope this happens.
Thank you. Yes, I hope that.
Alex, thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of your evening.
Thank you. You too. Bye
Bye
bye.
bye.
Thank you.